Hi, everybody. I'm John Granado. That's Josh Jordan. You can see our work. Well, you can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can see Josh's work, sportsmaphouston.com. Hit subscribe if you haven't already so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Hey, Josh, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay discussing draft prospects. Kiper projects less than 80 draftable prospects this year. McShay only has 14 first-round grades this year. If the Texans also believe this to be a thin draft class, could we see them be more aggressive or creative with their draft strategy this year?
Absolutely. I believe they have 11 picks in this draft.
What a horrible year for that.
Of course. Every year the Texans get that top, one or two pick. This kind of stuff happens. Clowney and Mario Williams.
David Carr
yes.
instead of Michael Vick. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It really is. And, Kiper said typically there's like 125, 130 draftable prospects. So, if Caserio, he has, 4 sixth-round picks just in that one round. So I wonder if, I believe their top 5 picks will all fall in those draftable player categories. So it's good for the Texans in that aspect. Maybe they'll get 5 draftable players, but it makes sense if it's so top-heavy, then maybe use some of that ammo to go get some guys that you really covet because, maybe there's not anybody you really like after that.
Well, now let's face it, though, draft experts, no offense, Lance, you guys miss all the time. Okay, guys that were undraftable turn out to be, free agents that make teams and are really, really good. I'm hoping Caserio is just really, really good at this. I'm hoping he can find diamonds in the rough. He has found some players later in the draft that Dameon Pierce in the 4th round, and you redrafted today, Dameon Pierce would be a first rounder in the draft, right? So there are guys that are out there that people don't see or people underestimate that are going to be there. It's just typical Texans, though, when they have all this draft capital, that there's just nobody out there.
I wonder, though, John, maybe you get your 4 or 5 guys that you like, and then you take some of that draft capital and trade it for picks in next year's draft, maybe, when there'll be some better players on the board.
Yeah, I don't know who's moving up in the 6th round and stuff, though, because they got all that, all those 6th rounders. I don't know that you're gonna be able to move. Maybe they can package 4 6th rounders for a late second. No, can't do that.
Maybe a 4th or 5th rounder.
You can't. Maybe. Jim Irsay made the news this week with his Bryce Young, that Alabama quarterback comment, and then he followed that up on Wednesday on Twitter by putting a childhood picture of himself on a Bear, saying, "I've had a great relationship with the Bears for 60 years." Jokes aside, could the combination of a thin draft class and veiled comments from Irsay influence how the Texans approach this draft?
I think so, because the fact Matt Eberflus being the head coach of the Bears, his background's with the Colts. Maybe he thinks Irsay's kind of nutty, but him and Chris Ballard are probably pretty close. So I could see a scenario where they're like, hey, we can help each other out here. If maybe this is a smokescreen and they really don't like Bryce Young, Colts and Bears could talk and be like, let's get the price up for the Texans to where they're going to have to pay extra to move up to number 1. And maybe the Colts don't really covet Bryce Young. They're just putting that out there. And then the Bears are like, why not? We'll get more out of the Texans in this deal. It's very interesting how they might be able to work together to get the Texans to overpay if they want to jump.
I think that the Colts, I think it's becoming less and less and less likely that the Texans are going to get Bryce Young. I think that the Colts are definitely a player for Bryce Young, and I think the Bears might be a player too. Mm-hmm. There's word out there, and maybe the Bears are putting it out there to even up the ante for what they're going to get. But I could certainly see a scenario where they trade Justin Fields and take Bryce Young, because Justin Fields is Justin Fields, and if they can get something for him, plus get Bryce Young, they've got 5 years on that deal as opposed to 3 left with Justin Fields. I could certainly see where the Texans are now C.J. Stroud, or what about a trade for Justin Fields and take Will Anderson?
I would go after Justin Fields. Yeah, if you could get him for, I don't know, your 2nd round pick or maybe 12th overall, and you get Will Anderson, like you said, one of those guys at the top of the draft, I'd be happy with that. Justin Fields is showing some progress, and he's bigger, than Bryce Young, so I wouldn't mind that at all.
No, I wouldn't mind it at all either. And I think it'd probably be that 12th pick. I don't think you're going to get him for that 2nd round pick, or maybe you can draft that. Whatever the case may be, I think Justin Fields is going to command a first rounder. They might want even more for Justin Fields. I don't know how much more I'd give, but I could see that scenario. I could see the Bears the Bears definitely moving in that because Ryan Poles doesn't have anything to lose. Ryan Poles is new that he didn't draft Justin Fields. They had the worst record in football. I think Bears fans would be pretty excited to move away from Justin Fields and into Bryce Young. So I could certainly see that happening as well. And I could see Jim Irsay, crazy man, going after Bryce Young and giving up whatever it is that they have to give up to get a Bryce. Listen, it might be their first rounder next year. I don't know that the Texans want to give up the 2nd and 12th overall pick. That would probably do it to get Bryce Young if the Bears aren't on Bryce Young. But I don't know that I want to give up the 2nd and 12th pick for Bryce Young.
No, I feel like that's too much. I don't know if other teams covet him that way, but Mel Kiper and Todd McShay made the point that while this might be kind of a weak draft, it's very top-heavy, which means there's probably going to be a lot of action, a really exciting first round of this draft.
All right, Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, which would you take if Bryce Young's going?
I'll go with Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter? Yeah. I think they need that edge guy, but yeah, you can't. I don't think you can lose with either of those.
They can't stop the run either. They need it all.
Yep, they need it all.